You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Trump issues ominous warning to the Senate. This could be the end, based on an article by Matthew Raza. Trump is saying the quiet part loud: break the rules, rig the map, crush the vote. The source, in one line, Trump is pressuring Senate Republicans to kill the filibuster so he can pass the Save America Act and make it harder for Democrats to vote, then using Abdul Michigan Senate candidacy as a fresh excuse to escalate the demand. Power is not the mystery. The power center here is not the Senate in some abstract institutional fog. It is Trump, using the presidency and his grip on the Republican base to force the party's senators to choose between procedural norms and loyalty to his agenda. The issue is not whether the filibuster is imperfect. It is that Trump wants it removed because it blocks a specific project, making democratic participation harder for the other party's voters. That is the core fact. The rest is branding. The real objective is voter suppression. The source treats the Save America Act as legislation, but politically it is an instrument of asymmetric power. Trump wants a rule change not to make government more functional, but to make it easier to narrow the electorate. He says so plainly in his own language. The point is to stop Democrats from voting effectively. That is not normal partisan hardball. It is an attempt to alter the terms of competition after the game has already started. When a party's leading figure argues that fewer people should be able to vote because the other side might win, the Democratic stakes are not theoretical. They are direct. The filibuster is a shield, not a moral alibi. The article leans on Senate procedure as if the filibuster were the main story. It is not. The filibuster is a tactical shield that both parties have used, and Democrats have every reason to use it against a reactionary agenda built around suppressing their voters. The important question is not whether the rule is elegant. It is who benefits from keeping mass participation constrained and who benefits from preserving a barrier to Trump's blitz. Trump is furious because the filibuster still occasionally blocks authoritarian momentum. That is why he is attacking it. Senate Republicans are not defending principle, they are weighing whether to keep a tool that can slow their own leaders' more naked ambitions. Their institutionalism, such as it is, survives only when it does not threaten power. Misdirection as a strategy. Trump's attack on Abdul is doing rhetorical work. By turning a candidate's supposed enthusiasm for filibuster reform into a scare story about Democrats gaining seats and control, he tries to recast a struggle over voting rights as a melodrama about partisan ambition. That is a familiar move. Locate the problem in the opposing party's success, not in the effort to prevent that success through rule manipulation. The article itself lightly notes the internal Republican split, but that framing softens the larger reality. The split is not between equally valid theories of governance. It is between Republicans who still want the old Senate ritual intact and Trump, who wants the institution stripped down until it obeys his immediate objectives. Calling that a norms debate understates the threat. It is a loyalty test dressed up as parliamentary procedure. Democrats are not the symmetry problem. This is exactly why the Democratic Party matters as the necessary institutional vehicle against authoritarian politics. Democrats are not above criticism. Their job is not to cosmetically preserve Senate decorum while losing the country. But the stakes are not symmetrical. One side is openly trying to make voting harder and consolidate executive power around a personalist project. The other side is being targeted because it remains the main electoral obstacle to that project. So no, this is not a story about two camps equally attached to rules. It is a story about one camp trying to preserve the conditions for democratic competition while the other camp attacks the competition itself. The pattern. What the story reveals is the modern conservative playbook in plain view. If the rules produce outcomes you do not like, treat the rules as disposable, then wrap the assault in grievance and procedural jargon. Trump does not want a stronger Senate or a cleaner democracy. He wants an obedient legislature and a narrower electorate. That is the pattern. Power first, legitimacy later, and democracy only when it cannot be used against them. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article. With the automated voice of Sam, thanks for listening.